You tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need. We give you outspoken thoughts about all the headlines. We talk baseball, football, hockey, and more. No matter the topic, we cover it. Get ready for the show and keep it outspoken. Keep it outspoken. We keep it outspoken only on the Sportscast. Tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need.
All right, everybody, welcome into Watson's Playbook episode 53. We got another special episode here for you. The spotlight of the week is the NBA playoff update. That's going to be kind of our spotlight of the week for here on out until the NBA playoffs kind of start and we get a championship winner. We got the headlines of the week. Some breaking news broke down today. We'll talk about that a little bit. Got my good buddy Jeff on with me. How is it going, Jeff?
It's going pretty good. It's sunny out here. I think the rain's kind of died down a little bit, but yeah, everything's going real well. Just been trying to catch up on some sports, a couple surprises. So it'd be interesting. We'll get that. We'll dive into it.
Get into that, yeah. And it has been sunny today. It's going to be sunny tomorrow with a little bit of chance of rain, and then the rain continues here Saturday, Sunday, Monday, all the way till next Wednesday. I'm getting fed up with it, man. I'm telling you, I am getting fed up with it. I hate the rain. It's supposed to be, we're only supposed to get like 1 to 2 inches between now and next Wednesday. So I guess that's not too terrible. And then we'll kind of get back into our nice, hot summer days here in Texas.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. Nice and hot doesn't really sound very good.
Does it go too good together?
Not really. No. The cool part is we've actually seems like y'all and us over here getting quite a bit. We've, I think, accumulated already surpassed the entire year's worth of rain we had last year, which is awesome because we had all those fires. So that's really good. And yeah, like we went, me and my wife went to Durango this last weekend. So we got to kind of see a different part of the state of Colorado that we hadn't seen before. I'd been there before, but to go ski, I hadn't been there when it was springtime or summertime. So we went there, and we went to go see this cliff dwelling at Mesa Verde National Park, which is like the Pueblo Indians in New Mexico came there and then carved out a town, like their homes and stuff were carved out of the actual rock, which is insane to see. So, cool. That was pretty cool to see. And then we went to a place called Uray. We drove the $1 Million Highway up there, which scared my wife because there were some narrow roads on cliffs. But I was good with it.
I hate that, man.
It doesn't bother me one bit, man.
It gives me the heebie-jeebies, man.
See, the thing is my grandfather taught me to drive. So whenever he taught me on the mountain with a truck that had no power steering. There were times where it was mud. There was time, so it was just like I got to learn how to drive in different elements and everything. So elements don't bother me. It's, it's funny because my wife's like, how are you not afraid up here? I was like, I don't know. I know how to steady, stay within the lines, not get too close to the edge. I just figured that out with him. I said, what scares me the most is driving in Dallas. That's the one that scares me the most.
All the traffic.
That's the one. Wow. It's the my white knuckle as soon as I get there. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
but,
it sucks. It sucks.
But yeah,
and it's only gotten worse. So
oh god, but yeah, like we went and drove that highway, and then we got to a place called Uray, which is like the Switzerland. They call it the Swiss Alps of Colorado. So it was a pretty cool place. The pictures are insane. The stuff that they have there is incredible. It's kind of we were in awe. It was like,
nice.
I'd never seen a place like that in this state ever. So it was just, it was pretty cool. Definitely experience. And I just got a week off of work next month, and we're going to fly to Phoenix to go see her friend. So
nice.
Yeah.
A lot of travel, and that's good, man. It's funny because you mentioned going up there and seeing the Colorado at a time where, you haven't seen it, right? So we went before we moved to Utah, right before me and the wife got married. She took me up there on vacation to see how I was going to like it, and we went up there and we rode the ski lifts during the spring, and there's no snow, but you got to see the different trees and the beautiful landscapes and everything. It's very beautiful up there, Utah, and Colorado is a very beautiful state as well. I like Colorado, and Colorado is one of the states I wouldn't mind living in one day. But yeah, very beautiful. A lot of stuff to do. That's just what I miss about Utah too. Is just on your day off, you can just go up to the mountains and just kind of do what you want to do, and you can't do that around here in Texas. There, some parts you can, but not here in the Fort Worth area, really. So,
yeah, it's definitely an adventure place. If my wife likes to go to different. The reason we picked this area was because we're not far from Utah, which she likes to go see, and then her friend lives in Arizona, which she likes to go see. We're not far from family in Texas, which we would go see, so it's kind of like and she likes going to New Mexico, especially Santa Fe. That's like her favorite place in the whole world. So yeah, it's like we're so close to kind of everything that we would go see anyway. So, and then the fact that we have family here helps, and we're not, her family likes coming out here too. So yeah, it all works out. It's an awesome place. I love it. And I love being kind of close to everything at the drop of a hat. We can just kind of go for a drive if we want to, or we could just go for a walk, or, I think we're even planning on sometime this summer, we're going to there's a place in Dillon, which is like an hour away, but you can go and rent kayaks and just go in this lake, man, just
nice.
for just for the day.
Nice.
But yeah, like that. You remember how you were telling me there was a lake on top of a mountain?
Yes.
Okay, so your Ray has like 5.
Nice.
Yeah, they have 5, and it's incredible.
Let me tell you something. Let me give you a little word of advice. So we went up there and we went to the lake on top of the mountain, not literally on top, but further up in altitude. And you better put that sunscreen on, brother. We didn't realize that how closer we were to the sun. We went home that night and we were lobsters. We were so burnt. But it was a fun time.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead before we ramble in too much here. Let's go ahead and jump into the spotlight of the week here is the NBA playoffs as they continue to go on. We've had some changes in series. The Bucks dismantled the Miami Heat, who swept the Heat. And the Heat, this is a team last year that made it to the championship. So I was expecting a closer series than we did. The Bucks have been kind of last year. They were on the radar. They had the MVP and Giannis, and you've kind of got all the publicity. But I feel like this year the Bucks were the third best team in the East. They kind of went under the radar a little bit with you got the Brooklyn Nets there, and you got Philadelphia 76ers taking the first seed. And is this the year that the 76ers kind of get over the hump? But the Bucks have quietly been putting together a really good season. That they sweep the Heat right out of the playoffs, so they're waiting for they play the Nets as the Nets ended up beating the Celtics, moving on. So that's going to be an interesting series. But the Bucks move on to the next round. I don't think I thought the Heat would put up a bigger fight with Jimmy Butler and them, but it didn't turn out that way. And I don't know if that's because of maybe the bubble last year helped out the Heat a lot. I don't know. Last year, I think the Heat was a surprise team from the East to make it in the championship, and we weren't expecting that. But yeah, Giannis looks to be on a mission. We'll see if they can beat the Nets. I don't think that happens. But they've been quietly under the radar this season, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, we talked about that last week is in terms of the Nets being the team to beat, obviously, with all the talent they have. I just I don't. The Bucks, that was a surprise, maybe because Miami, but I don't know. I just look at it and I'm like, man, it's the Nets are the Nets are the Nets.
Yeah, and I wrote on here. I made these the other day, and I wrote on here Philly sweeps the Wizards because I thought that was going to happen. Well, they didn't sweep the Wizards. Joel Embiid actually got hurt. He has a torn meniscus in his right knee. It's a little torn meniscus, no surgery needed. He will miss game 5. So it's 3 games to 1. Wizards did win the other night. So I got that a little bit wrong. I figured that it was going to be over. It should be over the next game. Philadelphia can beat the Wizards without Embiid, but they won't go further without Embiid playing against the next opponent. So I don't see them getting past the next. Well, I don't know that they might beat the next round, but without Embiid, that's the heart and soul of that team. He should be able to play through it, but he'll miss game 5 against the Wizards. And they're actually playing right now as we speak. So they should win that game, though, and move on to the next round they'll face the Knicks or the Hawks. And the Knicks, this is a team, Jeff, that even though they're bad, they bring a lot of money. They bring a lot of hype. They are, it's the Big Apple. They remind me a lot of the Dallas Cowboys. Even though they've been bad or they haven't lived up to expectations, somehow, some way, they still get a lot of viewers. They get sold out crowds. It's just kind of who they are. And the Knicks are that team. And this year is the first time they've won a playoff game in forever. And they celebrate like they won the championship. But they're failing. These players that stepped up for them during the regular season in Randall and stuff, they have not stepped up in the playoffs. They just couldn't handle the spotlight in the playoffs this year. Maybe this is the stepping stone to go, okay, look, we made the playoffs. We got 1 playoff win. They're down 3 games to 1 to the Hawks. I don't know if the Hawks are going to win this next game they play tonight. If the Knicks win, the Hawks are going to win the series, though, unless the Knicks just turn it completely around. But this is a good stepping stone for them. Maybe next year get a series win and then go forward from there. But we'll see what happens with the Knicks. I think they're interesting, but they just can't handle the spotlight right now. And they're a young team and they're still learning their way. So I thought they would put up a bigger fight than they did against the Hawks, in my opinion. But
yeah, I thought they would put up a bigger fight. It's just that side of it's just so, it's hard to talk about the other teams, it's like,
yeah,
because it's kind of like, man, who's going to be at the end. And I hope somebody, man, honestly, like I said this last time, I hope somebody takes them out, man. Completely takes them out. But I don't think anybody will. I don't think anybody will, man.
No. And
it's becoming kind of like how, well, I don't know. It's hard to say it's like that, but it's kind of like when the Patriots division, when Tom Brady was in it, when they were at their heyday, nobody's going to do anything in that division. Nobody. Everybody knows who's going to win that division. And it's kind of like, it reminds me of that. Or even like whenever it was the Warriors.
Yeah. It's when Durant joined the Warriors. And it's, that really made me dislike basketball for a while. I still watch it, kept up with it, but it was not fun to watch. And it's not fun.
Yeah.
It's not good for the NBA. This last year it kind of split up where you didn't have a super team, but you had duos. You had, obviously LeBron, Anthony Davis. You had Kyrie and Durant with the Nets, and then you had Kristaps Porzingis and Luka Doncic, and you had Kawhi Leonard, and so you had these. Okay, it's these two guys on these teams, and we're gonna see who the better two are, and the team can step up around them. But now you add Harden to that team, and it's ridiculous, and I don't think it's not fun to watch, in my opinion. So you're just hoping for that upset. You're hoping, and in my opinion, the only team that had a possibility to beat them would be a healthy Laker team. And speaking of that, the Lakers are going to make it out of the first round. Anthony Davis' groin injury. He didn't play last game. We got blown out last night. We go down 3-2. LeBron James, where the heck is he? He scored only 24 points. And someone's like, well, 24 points ain't a bad game. 24 points is a bad game for LeBron James, especially when it's just him. And they look bad. They looked off sync. My buddy was laughing at me the other day when I told him Anthony Davis is our number one. We win with him. Without him, we won't win. LeBron's not this young guy that's going to come out and take over the game and score 55 points and lead us to that victory. It's just he's not that player anymore. He's great still, but he's not that player anymore. He's getting older. Last night it was abysmal. They looked bad. They only put up 85 points. We got blown out. It's looking to be the first time LeBron James has ever lost a first-round matchup in his entire career. Anthony Davis is fighting to play in the next game because he knows they can't win without him. We will see what happens. I don't think without Anthony Davis playing at a pretty high level that the Lakers are moving on past the first round. And that's the only team I think that can beat the Nets. Healthy.
I agree. I saw the injury. I was very surprised actually that happened. I was like, really? Bad timing. A groin injury is pretty serious.
Yeah.
Especially to happen at this time. You don't want an injury like that happen in the playoffs. That can sideline somebody.
That's something
for the remainder of the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's if that happened in the beginning of the season, it would be no big deal. I think it's a big deal, but it's like you could still be all right. You know,
you could survive without
but
it.
the fact that it's any playoff injury, it's like, man, bad time.
And that's the issue. Time. That's the issue. Anthony Davis has been injury prone his whole career. That's just what it is. It comes with the package. It's kind of like Porzingis, but Anthony Davis is a lot better. With a groin injury, the only thing that's going to help it is rest. That's it. And we set him out last game, and he wants to play this next game. I just really think, and I told a lot of Laker fans this and people that after playing last year, the way we did, winning the championship and having such a short off season, it doesn't bode well for us because of LeBron's age and Anthony Davis always being, injury prone. And when we lost them two in the middle of the season, we dropped drastically. And we were just at that point, let's just get in and see what happens. But now that he's out, I just don't see us beating the Suns. So Lakers will be out, and you'll have a new championship. We can't fight the back-to-back. There's been rumors, though, that if the Lakers do lose to the Suns in the first round, that there's going to be a big mix-up with L.A. So we'll see what happens there later down the road here. But back into... You got something to add about the Lakers there, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, it's kind of just bad timing, and to kind of maybe have some hope. There is no excuse. I understand how good he is, and he's very good, but there's no excuse now that the talent that's on the Lakers, they all had to work together. They all had to play well together in order to even be in this position, period. They did obviously they've won games without LeBron and AD. And I think with both of them out, impossible. With one of them in, there is no excuse how these guys could not at least make this a competitive game. To get blown out like you did and to have LeBron James walk out with 5 minutes left in the game, it doesn't look good.
No.
It looks horrible. It looks like, is it a mirage because you have Anthony Davis and LeBron James? Are these all other players who they pay to go in there and produce? Is it a joke? Were they just sitting there kind of being role players, so to speak, and around the stars that are out there, the two stars that are on the team? I don't know.
You're exactly right. I think when you look at this team, we're a lot better than we were last year as far as individual players we have on this team. We got better over the offseason. And I think it's easy to see. It's easy to come into a mindset. I think when you have two players such as Anthony Davis and LeBron James of, man, they just won it without us, or they just won it with a lesser team, we're definitely going to win. Maybe you slack off a little bit here or there. I don't know. But like I said, they didn't perform. LeBron James last night with 24 points is unexcusable. It just is. You know what you have to do. He after Anthony Davis was out, he said, my shoulders were made big for a reason. Right, I'm going to carry the team. He's done it a lot. Now at his old age, that's probably not the guy he is anymore. And I'm telling you right now, Anthony Davis is the number one for the LA. And without him, we don't win. Period. In a discussion. LeBron James last night, though, it just did not. It's inexcusable. It looks really piss poor, if you don't mind my language here, to walk off the court with 5 minutes left. That's bad. It makes it look like you quit. But I'm not. I like LeBron James basketball. I'm just not a big LeBron James fan, which is weird because I'm a Lakers fan. But that's here or there. It's just not a good game for him. Not a good look. This team looked so off key last night. Missing passes, everything. It was bad, and playing that way, they're not going to go anywhere. So we'll see. I don't know what happens. The Lakers do want to keep Andre Drummond. I really love what he's brought to the table this season. It's going to take a lot of cap moving around, maybe getting rid of quite a few players to make the money work, because we are in some cap issues there in LA. But we'll have to figure it out. And then try again next year. But
I mean, with the I guess like the in retrospect for Laker fans, you guys did win last year, and that's okay. You're not going to win every year,
right?
You're not going to win. I mean, dynasties are rare; they don't happen very often. There's a reason that hasn't happened very often. Some of that is also money, having to actually pay all these people, and then also them all working together and liking each other is also a big factor. So, I mean, I know we had some of them back in, with the Heat, and back in when LeBron was on Miami. We talked about with the Warriors, but I think it's different. But it's okay. You don't have to have a dynasty every year. You don't have to be winning it every year. I know as a Yankee fan, I get what that means when it's like win or bust. I get that. I get that mentality. When you haven't won in a while, I get it. It even being more of a stress, But y'all did win last year, so just Laker fans, relax. Relax.
Yeah,
You'll be back there next year. I don't think LeBron's going. I know there's some rumors that he might be going to Portland or whatever. I don't know what that. I don't know. That's what people are talking about. All of a sudden, there was some Twitter thing of him someone saying, "Oh, LeBron's on the phone with what's his face, either trying to bring him to LA or trying to go to Portland." I have no idea, but it is what it is.
I haven't heard any of that, but LeBron James likes being a Laker. He likes the legacy. He ended the drought. We were out with that in a drought without championships, and it wasn't a long drought. It wasn't. You look at some other teams, you're like, you can't. I don't know if you can really call it a drought. He brought a championship here, and I'll be grateful for that as they won last year. And but we still got Anthony Davis, LeBron James, more than likely going to be here next year. And we'll run it back. We'll see what happens as far as the shakeup goes. I really want Andre Drummond to come back. I really like Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder at times plays a really good game. At other times, he makes a lot of mistakes. But enough about the Lakers. This is a lot of Laker talk, which is fine with me. But I don't know if everyone wants to hear that now. In the Western Conference here, the Jazz are up 3-1 now. As we said, when Donovan Mitchell got back, this series would be over, and it pretty much is. The Memphis Grizzlies have put up a fight in each game. Ja Morant has been fun to watch. If you ever have a chance to turn on TV and watch him, do so. He's a fun watch. He's a great player. He's one of the future stars in this league. That being said, it's the Grizzlies. They don't have a team around them. The Jazz will take the series probably tonight and go up 4-1 and move on to the next round. But they still don't scare me as a team that's going to the championship until they prove it. It's always going to be that way with the Jazz to me because they never get over the hump. And then let's see, look, the Denver Nuggets and the Blazers continue to be the most interesting series. They're tied up 2-2. They look to be the best series so far. I can see realistically either team going on and pushing for the Western Conference Finals with Dame time there, and you got the Joker and Murray there with the Denver Nuggets, and both those teams haven't done a lot lately as far as winning championships, right? But they're always teams that are in the playoffs, and eventually you wonder if they'll get over that hump. In the Eastern Conference, they'd probably be the second seed, right? Because the Eastern's so bad.
Oh, yeah. A lot of these teams would be.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So we move on to the Dallas Mavericks, Jeff. And
oh, no.
We were completely wrong. We talked about last week. It's church. They go up 2-0. It's over. You said that the Dallas Mavericks will not stumble at home. Well, they stumbled. And they stumbled pretty bad. And the game 3, the Mavericks were up 30-11 in the first quarter. And they allowed the Clippers to come back, steal that game. Luka gets hurt the next game. He has a pinched nerve in his neck. And he still almost outscores Porzingis, all right, who's been being carried by Luka Doncic. And the series is back 2-2, Jeff. I hope the Mavericks win. I want to say that, but I do think the Clippers have taken control, and they've really focused on what the weakness of the Mavericks is, and that is they don't have the rim protector. And these Kawhi Leonard and Paul George has been running to the rim, and that's really what's changed the series. Is that and Luka Doncic's injury and only scoring 18 points. That sucks. That's bad. But we'll see what happens tonight. They play the last game tonight. We'll see if they go back to LA now. We'll see if their magic runs out there with Luka Doncic in Dallas. But we'll see. It's interesting, and that both these teams have won all the road games. So if that trend continues tonight, the Mavericks will win. But do you have high hopes now after what portrayed? What's gone on now, and Luka said after some deep tissue massages, he should be pretty good to go. What's your feel for this game tonight, Jeff?
So when this injury, anytime there's an injury that happens to somebody or a player that I'm interested in, I look it up immediately. Not only do I look it up, I look up the diagnostics as to what causes it. I also look up as to what they need to do to remedy it, and if it's even salvageable quick. So, with that said, this is really, in my personal opinion, matter of fact, I'm going to put a correction in there. He got injured game 3. He was injured game 3. By the third quarter, he was wincing. He was grabbing his neck, completely missing shots that he would make easy towards the end of the game. That second half is what changed it because he was eliminated from the game. Then you come into game 4 and he was eliminated from the game. Now, I find it very interesting that all of a sudden, once Luka got hurt, the Clippers just went crazy and whatever. And I think the key to the team is Luka, period. Not because he's talented. Of course he's talented. Of course he can score points. But he is also the driver in the bus. He's the one making these passes that nobody sees. He's the one that's basically the Jason Kidd of this team. And I say Jason Kidd not because Jason Kidd was an amazing scorer, because he did score well, but he was a facilitator just as well as he was a scorer. And that's what I'm talking about. That he is the reason that this team works, because he's the leader of the team. So when he's shooting the shots, they're focused on Luka, and that leaves those shots open for everyone else. When he's eliminated and he's hurting and can't shoot his shots, and we can't make them, obviously, and he's in pain, guess what? All these other guys are going to be out of rhythm. And I think with that being said, man, oh man, have the Clippers lucked out. They lucked out with a guy getting hurt. Wow.
Here's a hot take, Jeff, for you about the Mavericks. I believe, Jeff, if the Mavericks lose this series, I believe Porzingis is gone. I believe you trade him in the offseason, and he might be even if you win the series. It's harder for you than to trade him away if they win this series. Porzingis frustrates me. I'm not even a Dallas Mavericks fan, and he frustrates me when it's frustrating my own team. When you have two superstars, and Porzingis, I say superstar with quotation marks, he's getting paid to be one. When one person is not there, you need that other guy to step up. Luka Doncic scored 18 points. He was hurt. Let's give him a pass on that, right? He usually has to come out and score over 37 points and have a triple double for this team to win. But he usually does it on a regular basis. That's why they are where they are.
That's an easy do for him, Brian.
Right, I want to see it where he doesn't have to do that every single night to win. That's where you want to be when you look at usually the Lakers when Anthony Davis is having an off night, LeBron James is there, right, or vice versa. It didn't happen this last game. But when you have those superstars, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, one guy's not there that night, the other guy usually steps up and makes things happen. You'll never have that game for Porzingis. If Luka Doncic scored 18 points and we know he was hurt, I would have loved to see Porzingis go up there and put up 34 points and have that game. Say, hey, I need to be a bigger impact in this game tonight. I am a star. I need to start acting like it. Porzingis is going to get you 19 points a game, 18 points a game. Okay, that's fine, but you're getting paid to score more, to do more, and you're not doing it. And that's my biggest issue with the Dallas Mavericks. I'm not a big fan of Porzingis. He's very soft, in my opinion. Get Luka some help. Porzingis, to me, is a number 3. He could be a number 3 on your team. They need to bring somebody else in here, and it probably ends up with the Porzingis trade in the offseason if you lose a series. I don't think he's pulling his weight, and I think that's a lot of people think Porzingis is soft, and he's always hurt and injured, and so I'm just not a big Porzingis fan, and I tell my buddy that all the time. But yeah, I would have loved to see. But when's the last time that Porzingis stepped up, and you're like, oh man, Porzingis outplayed Luka today. Porzingis is the reason we won, and you don't hear that very often. I can't even tell you the last time that's happened.
That's
my issue.
I mean, I get that he's paid to be a superstar, but I will say this much: you can't compare Luka to most people, and when you compare Luka to Porzingis, it's kind of like that doesn't even make any sense.
But I'm not comparing him to.
I know.
Luka. I'm comparing him to other stars around the league that are the number twos.
Yes. And I get that. Here's my problem. Game 3, the Dallas Mavericks were so close to finishing that game off. It was very tight towards the end of the game. There were a lot of mistakes being made towards the end of the game. For instance, Porzingis let Rajon Rondo strip the ball from him. Okay, now you have to understand. I know Rajon Rondo is a relatively tall person, and on TV he looks tiny. But against Porzingis, who's taller than him, how do you get stripped from a little Rajon Rondo? And I get that Rajon Rondo's a sneaky little guy and he can whatever, but Porzingis to not see him or to not understand what was going on, that was a very pivotal part of the game that honestly changed it. It changed it. It was at the end of the game, and it was just like, what are you doing? And I think, honestly, they were in foul trouble, and they purposely started fouling Luka because he was hurt. And not only that, it's like it got sloppy at the end. The Mavericks were not rebounding the ball like they were at the beginning of the game. They were not rebounding the ball like they were doing in Game 1 and Game 2. So I think that it's like they went away from a formula because Luka was hurt. And because they went away from it, it changed everything.
Well, they did.
It changed how they played. Yeah. It changed how they defended. It changed how everything. It's like all of a sudden the game plan just went out the window. And it was like, oh, okay, whatever. We're just winging it now, And if we win this game, it's going to be very tight. It's going to be by a score, and we ended up. That game was very winnable, even with Luka being hurt. And then Game 4 was just ridiculous. There was no way that I don't think Luka was even prepared to. First of all, I would rather him have sat out. Personally. Not to say that, let's give up. No, whatever. No, sit him out. Because ultimately, what's the worst case scenario? It's 2-2. Sit him out. Get him rest. Get as much, therapy as he needs on that muscle. And you know what? Let Porzingis sink and swim out there by himself.
He's going to sink, Jeff.
I get that, but I'm just saying, there was no urgency to throw him out there. I know they want to win in front of the fans. I know they want to give them that kind of thing, and I get what they're doing, but it was not worth the risk of injuring even further or making it worse by even him being out there. I would have taken him out as soon as that game was unwinnable in Game 3, took him out, and would have not put him back in Game 4. My opinion.
Yeah, they're talking about that on the radio about taking him out and get him some rest there. But it's hard to take a guy out, a competitive guy like that out in a playoff series at home. You want to redeem yourself from last year, and you just, that Luka Doncic is a guy, and they were talking about this too, about he cares for the game. He loves the game of basketball. And when they were watching him play, there was a video of him that came out when he when he played overseas, right? And he was crying when they lost the championship. He had his head in his hands, and he was crying. A lot of people said, man, I don't know. I don't want the guy who's crying, right? I don't want that guy. I do. I want that guy. That guy shows me he's got love for the game. He's passionate to win, and that's what drives him. People usually think, oh, he's crying, he's weak. He can't handle his emotions. Luka Doncic is very passionate, very competitive player. I don't know if he would have even set out if they told him, unless it was a medical reason that says, hey, if you play or you're not cleared to play. I don't think he's sitting out.
He doesn't seem like a player. He doesn't seem like He seems like a player who would fight that, and you have players like that for sure that will definitely fight that. You just have to, if it is medically necessary for them to stay out and it would benefit them further down the road within the playoff series, I think he would respect that, honestly. I think it would be hard for him to, but I think he would definitely respect that.
I mean, as long as if the doctor tells him that, hey, this injury could get worse by playing, I think they sit him out. But I think this is one of those injuries where it's just one of those freak things that happen, and it's not going. You're just gonna have to either play through the pain or sit out a little bit. But I don't think he risked. I don't think it was one of those that could risk him injuring himself more and sitting out more games.
Yeah.
Look,
I don't like comparing people to legends. I don't like when people are like, oh, the next Kobe or the next Michael Jordan or the next Larry Bird or whatever. But I'll tell you this much: the game tonight, this is Luka Doncic's Michael Jordan moment. How can you beat this team with as much pain as possible that you might be going through? Can you push through it, and can you basically put a staple on this game and say, you know what, you thought I was out, you thought you had us, but you don't.
Oh, it's a big game.
As much as I'm in pain, let's see how that works. Because as much I know it's got to be painful, dude. The guy's, it's right in his shoulder, neck. It's his shooting hand. I think it's got to be painful, but there's a lot of players that have fought through that kind of stuff, and you gotta get to a point where maybe, I'm not saying that this is a do or die for his legacy, because that doesn't make any sense. He's too young, but I'd like to see that kind of moment where, like the bloody sock moment for the Red Sox, or just that kind of moment where you're like, man, this guy, Terrell Davis running in the Super Bowl with a migraine.
This is one of those games that's not going to hurt his legacy if he loses.
No,
or serious, but it's one of those games that could boost his legacy if he wins it. And look, I'm a big Luka fan. I'm a Laker fan, but I follow other players. I'm a big Luka fan. I was arguing, my buddy at work is a Suns fan, and so we go back and forth between the series now. And man, I'm like, man, have you seen what Luka's doing? And he's like, Luka's good, but he's not as good as you'll hype him up to be. I'm like, dude, he's 22 years old doing what he's doing. I said, if I was to start a franchise today, I want Luka Doncic over everybody else. He's 22 doing the things he's doing. And he's like, no, bro, you're crazy. He's top 5 point guard probably, but I'm like, no, he's top 5 player in the league. I'm like, dude, it's insane. You're not watching what I'm seeing, apparently.
He's just salty because they passed on him, Brian. He's salty because they passed on him, all right?
It's got to be it.
They messed up. They got a good player, but I mean, come on now. They messed up, and they know they did. And those fans are when your fan base misses on someone, you always go back to, well, he's not that good. He's not that good. And you kind of just, you're kind of, you're gritting your teeth because damn well
Luka's great.
You're wrong.
Here's one other thing about Luka Doncic that I really like. And when you're comparing him to kind of Dirk Nowitzki was a very humble player. He was a very shy player. He wasn't the kind of guy that was going to be in your face type of thing,
Deion Sanders.
Yeah. Luka Doncic is that guy. Luka Doncic wants to hit a 3 in your face and tell you about it. Luka Doncic knows how good he is. Not that Dirk didn't, but he knows how good he is, and he wants to come in here and he wants to prove it to you. And I love watching it. It's definitely fun watching him. When I do watch, if I watch another basketball game, it's usually Luka Doncic playing with the Mavericks. It's just a fun watch. It is, and there's those players you have in every sport that you're like, okay, I got to turn on the TV. He's playing. I got to watch him. That was Brett Favre, right? I turn on the TV. Oh, Brett Favre's playing. I got to watch him. Whoever it is for you, Luka Doncic is that guy. Go watch him. He's great.
I got like that with Barry Sanders.
Dude, Barry Sanders. Yes, sir, man. Give me some Barry. Just put Barry Sanders highlight tapes on, man. And it's your ankles will start hurting from watching them.
and then you shake your head because you go, how did this person not win a freaking Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Horrible.
Well, it's because the Lions are the Lions are known as they're the legend killers. Barry Sanders hated it so bad he quit. Megatron hated it so bad he quit. They end greatness. They make them quit. It's sad. It's quite sad there in Detroit. But that's a story for the football season. All right, that's it for the playoffs. We got some interesting games and series, and we totally thought that the Mavericks were going to win this series. It's still up in the air. They still could win it. We don't know. I think Clippers are going to gain control and take it back over, but I hope I'm wrong because I do not want the Clippers. Sorry, I almost threw up a little bit there to go win a championship.
Ooh, especially in that place.
No, you're not. They don't raise championship banners there. They raise, I don't even know if they raise anything there. They probably have a conference championship or. They raise those horrible flags and we raise banners and we retire legends. And so anyways, I'm not salty at all, but they're getting their own stadium pretty soon. So that's really good. We got some interesting headlines to talk about. And usually the topic of the week, the spotlight of the week is usually the main thing I want to talk about. But I have two other things that on this headlines that I really want to talk about, and I'm excited to talk about with you. And number one is about a tennis player, Jeff. And tennis is not usually on here on Watson's Playbook. It's usually not. It's not a hot selling ticket. Not a lot of people play it. Not a lot of people watch it. I do.
This is a tennis podcast from now on.
Tennis podcast, yeah. We'll call it Over the Net. And so a tennis player named Naomi Osaka came out the other day. She's a young tennis player. She's one of the best in the world at what she does. She's really good. And she came out the other day in the French Open, and she said, I am not going to talk to the media anymore because of my mental health. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time ever I've ever heard someone claim mental health for talking to the media. And I want to start off by saying two things. One, mental health is not something to joke about. Something to take serious. I feel like a long time ago that stuff was, no one talked about it, right? No one talked about that stuff. But as we've matured and got older and then studies and learned things, mental health very seriously. Number two, I'm not saying what she has, the anxiety and fear she has of talking to media and have that pressure put on you is not there, right? If she says she has mental health with it and it causes her so much fear and anxiety, then she has it. But the French Open said, well, I'm sorry, but if you can't live up to your obligations, because what most people might not know is when you're a sports athlete, you are obligated to talk to the media. It's in every sport, just about. You have to do your duties and talk to the media before games, after games. You have to put that time in because the league has to be able to advertise for you. They have to put your name out there and get you out there, and it's just something the fans want to hear about this. The players, they want to hear the input and everything. So the French Open said, "Hey, they fined her because she did skip out on the media. And they said, if you do not fulfill your obligation, then you're not playing tennis. And that's how it is. And the other big tennis the other big tennis championships and tournaments told her the same thing. If you're not going to talk to the media, you will not play. So that was an interesting topic, debate of, well, is this right? Is this wrong? Whose side are you on? Naomi Osaka won her match, and then after the next match, she quit. She dropped out. She said, I'm going to take time away from the court. Now, I get both sides of the story. I feel like the French Open did what needed to be done. And I say that because if they allowed her to continue to play and not speak to media, in my opinion, you would have a lot of other athletes who they don't have anxiety and they don't have the mental health and they don't have that fear of public speaking. They would just say it's mental health and they would pass it off because it's something they don't want to do. We've seen it with Marshawn Lynch in the NFL. He would show up and answer every question with, I'm just here so I don't get fined. Hey, Marshall, how did the game go today? I'm just here so I didn't get fined. And he got around speaking to the media and giving them anything really to use. But that is an obligation you have. And I think players should have to speak to the media, in my opinion. If not, no one's really going to know who you are. If they don't watch tennis or if they don't watch, baseball has the same problem. They don't market their players well enough. So most people can't tell you the top 5 baseball players in the MLB. That's a big problem that they have. I think French Open stepped up and said, look, I'm sorry about that, but you have to talk to media. I hope Naomi Osaka, if she wants to continue to play tennis professionally, goes and gets some therapy, does what she needs to do to get over this mental health problem and continue her career, because she is good and she's young and she has time to overcome this. They've had athletes reach out and it's could be a really powerful message, Jeff. Other athletes have reached out to her. Russell Wilson's reached out to her talking about anxiety. There's been players in the NFL that talk about having anxiety before games, having panic attacks. These people that go out and play sports and make millions of dollars, or even celebrities, a lot of times you think, oh, they have money. They're all their problems are solved, and that's not the case. These players and these athletes and they still have some of the same issues we have. So I hope she gets better. I hope this is something she deals with. And I hope that it's a serious case and it's just something that she doesn't want to talk about, or she doesn't want to do because she doesn't like doing it. There was I listen to sports radio talk when I drive my truck at work, and there's a guy that does overnights, and he was talking about how he got to interview her one time, and he said it's a very awkward. You can see her physically shake when you're trying to do these interviews. So I do believe her, but I do believe that the French Open has to do what they got to do, and that's the obligation. You have to speak to the media. But it's opened that wormhole, that loophole now of, is this going to be seen in other sports? Is this going to be seen somewhere else? And I don't know if you have a hotter take on it, or if you have a really good whatever input you have, Jeff, feel free to. I know it's tennis, but it goes a lot more into different sports. And will we see it? Do you think we'll see it in football or baseball or whatever? Because mental health's very serious, but these sports have to also, hold everyone to the same standards, and so it's an interesting topic.
So I mean, it's kind of like if I had to. Oh man, I'm trying to think. So if they needed to, there's not a loophole, I don't think. The reason I say that is because in order to get around a situation like this, you would obviously need to have some kind of like some kind of diagnoses. Obviously, if the league really wanted to be like, okay, you need to really prove this, you cannot. Especially if it's a third-party doctor, which means it's not a doctor associated with the player and it's not a doctor associated with the league. You don't want any biases. But you cannot trick the system in order to say, okay, for example, if I wanted to tell someone, oh no, I am, I'm schizophrenic. I see things, right? And I need medicine to not see things. They do tests that trick you into telling them really what's going on. And they're massive long tests, and they're designed to basically weed that out. You cannot, if you are schizophrenic, that test will show it. If you are not, it will not show it. You will show you're deceptive. It'll show that you're obviously not. And that's what they do with, treatment wards and stuff like that. So if you really wanted to do that, you could have some kind of thing like that. This kind of reminds me of Zach Greinke. Zach Greinke was like that. He didn't like talking to the media. He's a baseball player, pitcher. I think he's with Houston now, but at the time he was with Kansas City.
I think, is he with Houston or Arizona?
Right now?
Yeah.
He's with Houston.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah. So ultimately, it's kind of like I look at it and I'm kind of like, I don't really see if people really have issues with it. I think there's ways to kind of either go around it to where maybe they're a little bit more controlled. Maybe you have it set up to where this player or this particular person, they do their press, but they do it in a different kind of way than your normal player, which basically goes out there and it talks to, I don't know how many reporters are in the room, 20 or so. Maybe it's more of an intimate, like, one-on-one, maybe two reporters in the room as opposed to a slew of them. Maybe we don't look at it as, why we don't have to video. Why would we video it? Like maybe that's the problem. So I think ultimately there's ways of going around it to where not only does it help the player themselves to where they don't have that anxiety, because, ultimately if you could somehow accommodate, but yet still have it, I think if you have that proven that they have it, if it's an actual diagnosis that is an actual thing, then ultimately I think I don't really see the issue. I look at it and I go, if you fix it to where maybe it helps them out, try different ways of doing it by sitting there and ignoring the situation, sitting there and, looking at it and going, well, come on, just deal with it. You're telling the public the same thing when somebody says, I'm having a bad anxiety attack today. I cannot deal with X situation. I need to just decompress today and I will deal with that tomorrow. And I think the normal society, normal people, everyday people go through that all the time. And I think that when you say to these players, no, you're on a different pedestal, and I get they're athletes, I get it, but they are human, and you could never. So the tennis league could basically sit there and say, if they ever had a foundation that said, hey, we give money to the mental health foundation, that is kind of a joke now, like you kind of look at it and go, well, you donate, but heaven forbid a player has any issue. You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of, it comes across very tone deaf to a topic that has affected millions of people all around the world. And when you kind of play with that and go, well, you need to do this. And it's kind of like, I don't know. I think there's ways of going around it to where you could still do the press, you could still do your thing, but you could do it in a different way.
I like that. I think that's a very good solution. And I think that, if maybe she would have brought that up to the tennis organization, first, maybe they do try that. Maybe they do try, hey, well, what can we do to accommodate you? And maybe they will. Maybe they'll reach out and say, hey, we we want you to be here. You do draw numbers. Because ultimately it comes down to, money, right? So maybe they will reach out, and we'll see what comes of this. I don't know if much more will come with this, because she has stepped away from the court, she said, and she's dealing with her anxiety and depression, she says. So, and I hope she gets better, and I hope that she overcomes that, and that's a very good solution, Jeff. I think that it would look good on the tennis organ. I don't know who runs tennis, the tennis organization. Okay, whatever, the French Open and stuff. They can reach out and they can say, hey, this is what we're doing for this, and this is what we're doing for that, and they can really try and make those accommodations for others. And you were trying to think of a perfect analogy earlier, and I got one for you, and it's perfect. It's like the what is that? Oh, now my mind went blank. Then they're the animals. The animals that are certified to help people. They're certified. Mm-hmm. I forget what it's called, but
a service pet.
Yeah, they're service animal. And everyone nowadays, they can take their animal anywhere and say, hey, he's my service animal. I can take him anywhere I want. You're by law not. And most of them aren't. Most of them aren't.
I do that with the cats.
So this is my service cat. Back it up. So that happens a lot. This is my service dog. Well, where's your paper? Oh, you can't ask me for paperwork. That's against the law. I think that's when I was thinking about if they allow her to do that, then you're going to see it all over the sport, and then you're going to see other sports, and then if one sport steps up and says we're not doing that, it starts to look bad, and so it opens up that, because I believe there a lot more times than not there would be more people that are trying just to get out of a duty,
right?
Than that actually do have mental health, and that's what I thought that the French Open needed to step up and do that, but I do agree with you. Finding the solution's a better answer. I hope she gets help, and that's all I can really say on that matter. But I just thought it was a very interesting topic.
To the notion of the media has to talk to them in order for them to be known. That's on their agents. Like, I mean, their agents are the ones that make the deals, and to get their name on the Wheaties, or their image on the Wheaties box, their deal with New Line or New Balance. I mean, for shoes or whatever. I mean, that's kind of their agent's job, and ultimately, the other person to kind of question in this situation is their publicist. It's like your publicist should be the one that goes and talks to Major League Tennis. I don't know what it's called, but I'm going to call it Major League Tennis. Even though it doesn't make it, even though that's definitely not the case. But, they're supposed to be the ones that does all that kind of behind the scenes work with a lot of the people that run the organization of tennis. And then also, they're also the ones supposed to speak to the press as well. So it's just kind of like, what are they doing? Like, where were they when that was going on? Completely ignoring it, oh no, that's what you got to do, and it's just like, you're not, if that's the case, then you're failing your client. completely.
Yeah, I don't know how if tennis athletes have publicists and
I'm sure they do.
I know
I'm
they
sure they
probably
do, especially a public figure like that, where she's like a household name in the world of tennis. You know, she's got to have a team. You got to have it.
All right, we're gonna move on to the next headline here. And this will be our last headline because, but Jeff, fans be acting crazy. All right, and I posted something the other day. Just because you buy a ticket to a sporting event, does not give you the right to be stupid. It does not give you the right to throw popcorn on Russell Westbrook in Philadelphia, Jeff. It does not give you the right to have racial comments towards Ja Morant's family in Utah, okay? It does not give you the right to throw a water bottle at Kyrie Irving in Boston, even though I wish it would hit him right in the freaking face. But does not give you that right to do so. It would be wrong. And it definitely does not give you the right to spit at Trae Young in New York. All right. This is ridiculous, guys. I get it. I hate Kyrie Irving. That guy, he gets under my skin. He doesn't take accountable. He brings, oh my gosh, I'm going to go on a Kyrie Irving rant here, Jeff. Okay. Kyrie Irving is such a freaking moron. First of all, he believes the earth is flat. Okay. That tells you all you need to know. Secondly,
it's not.
Secondly, Jeff, this is a guy that brings up about being called racial names in Boston, right? And the owner came out and said, I don't know what you're talking about, whatever. Okay. Maybe Kyrie Irving did get called some racial slurs. Not cool, right? Never cool at all. Doesn't matter who it is. But then he acts like he's hated in Boston because he's black. And no. You're hated because you went to Boston. You told them in front of the fans you'll be there next year if they'll have you. You lied to their faces. You ghosted their phone calls when Boston was trying to blow your phone up, trying to figure out if you're coming back. And you left them in the dust. That's why you're hated, you moron. Newsflash. It's not because of the color of your skin. You're hated because you're a dick. That's it. Plain and simple.
I'm going to beep that one out.
You're hated because you are an idiot. So you lie to the fans. It is what it is. You got to live with that. You're going to go to Boston and play for a long time against Boston. You're going to be booed. And it has nothing to do with the color of your skin. Do I think that a water bottle should have been thrown at you? No, I'm not going to go there. I wouldn't go there. I would go there and boo you. I'm not going to call you a racial slur. I'm not that person. But we got to keep it together, guys. This is ridiculous. It's only the first round of the playoffs. We've had 4 incidences. These fans have been arrested. They've been lifetime banned from the stadium. I don't know how they
basketball.
I don't know how they keep it. I don't know how they keep that lifetime ban. Is there a picture every time someone walks through the stadium and they're like, hold on, let me facial recognition? I have no clue.
Wear a
mask. Let's not be dumb. That's straight up. Let's not be dumb.
Here's the deal. This is happening in baseball too. You had, a video of like South in a White Sox game. People were swinging at each other. I think it was a Ranger game. You had people in South Philly going insane at a Phillies game. I don't know what the heck's going on. Well, it's Philly. That's just normal. That's normal there.
That's
okay?
normal every day.
But
right.
But when it comes to it's happening across the sports world right now. I don't know what's going to happen with football. Hopefully they don't act crazy this year. We already saw the beer bottle throwing at the Browns game. So bad that they had to escort everyone off the field. That was many years ago, but that's why we have plastic beer bottles at sports games now. It's to me, it's just kind of like we're caged animals, man. These fans are caged and they've been locked up. They've been locked away, Brian, for a year. And now they're going insane. They have been going insane inside. They were freaking out, and now it's open season. I mean, these people are going to go crazy.
Literally,
like,
open
I mean,
season.
it's quite literally a madhouse because these people, it's like putting a rat in a cage, and then you finally let that door out, and that rat goes insane. So it's just kind of like, man, maybe it's just that. I'm going to chalk it up as like people were locked up for a year.
You know what? You know what I'm chalking it up to, Jeff? Mercury is in retrograde right now, Jeff. That's it. That's got to be it. It's got everyone up in arms.
Oh, man. It's a mess. I hope everybody calms down. You see it now. It's like, I think Las Vegas is 100%. And you saw like a madhouse going on. There's like videos of colleges, campuses, people pushing cars over. There's like all kinds of craziness going on because all these people got locked up or they got, stayed inside. And now they're like, it's like now they're going, it's like the roaring 20s, but all of a sudden, instead of everyone having a good time, everyone's going mad crazy. Tipping over cars, throwing stuff at people, getting into fights. Like, it's craziness.
It's like if the Lakers won the championship back in the 90s and they burned, whether they won or lost, Jeff, there was a riot in the street. If they won or lost, there was cars turned over, burning buildings.
Could you imagine your car being turned over because people?
I'd be so mad. I would be so mad. I'd be quite impressed though. It's a minivan. I'd be like, how in the hell? All right, Jeff.
Oh, man.
It's that time for the episode here to ask you what's in your locker this week.
Oh, my locker got broken into. No, I'm kidding.
It got turned upside down.
Someone jacked stuff out of it. No, it's what's in my locker. Really, honestly, it's just trying to focus in on the Mavericks and see if they can pull this off. It's just a craziness. Didn't expect Luka to get hurt. If Luka didn't get hurt, I don't think the Mavericks would be in this situation. But even with Porzingis not doing anything, because he didn't do anything much of the year. So, but I think other than that, I'm kind of focusing on this next week of a lot of interesting game stuff with all the E3 stuff, with all the new game announcements being talked about. I think I just saw a gameplay of Far Cry 6. Looks incredible. It's got if anybody knows, it's got the guy who played Gus from Breaking Bad in it, and he's playing the villain, of course. Sounds incredible and amazing. And so, a lot of that, a lot of PlayStation rumors. I think we just found out today that God of War is delayed until 2022. So the next God of War game is not coming out until next year. We don't know when that will be. A lot of people up in arms about that. A lot of people acted insane online about that. I don't get it. Herman Hulst did an interview and said that God of War is a PS4, PS5 game. People went nuts. We're just like, lying and blah, blah, blah. I mean, just like completely bashing this developer, and Herman Hulst, who's the president of Sony's corporation in terms of PlayStation Studios. And I'm like, what are you talking? Like, what is that? What's so wrong about that? I mean, I don't know. Anyway, that was just a mess. But yeah, like, I'm interested to see what they're talking about. He said there's a lot of cool stuff coming in the pipeline. He mentioned something new from Ben Studios, the people who did Days Gone. So I'm excited to hear what they're up to. It's going to be crazy because I think that Sony's about to do. They're not going to be at E3, but they're going to have their own show, and I think they're going to bring the guns out this time. I think that Microsoft's going to throw some punches, but I think Sony's going to counter some punches with some pretty big announcements. So I'm excited to see all that. I'm excited to see what's going on. I want to know what's going on with Ubisoft. They're always a cool company.
I love Ubisoft. Yes.
I want to see what's going to go on with EA. I know it's odd, but I'd love to see EA do something different with Madden. Hopefully, I don't think they will, but maybe this is be the year that we find. I know Take-Two is going to be there, so maybe this is when we find out what that whole thing was with 2K doing some football game, but it's not a simulation game. So hopefully we'll see something like that. But yeah, other than that, that's kind of what I've been focused on. What about you?
Nice. Well, Jeff, we're still unpacking a lot of things. My TV got delivered the other day. I said, oh, man. I ordered me a 85-inch. I bought me an 85-inch Sony television made for PlayStation 5 and gaming. Well, Jeff, we got it. We bought a sound bar and a subwoofer with it. We got that on a discount. Got it home, and eventually I want to put it up on the wall, right? But it's too big for our TV stand. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm not going to leave it in the floor. That's just a disaster. So we moved it into our bedroom, and we're like, we'll just wait till Thursday, right? Tomorrow's Thursday. We'll wait till Thursday. We bought about an 84-inch TV stand. We can put it on until then, until we get it hung up. It's supposed to be here tomorrow, Jeff. I'm like, sweet. I'll come home tomorrow and I'll plug it all in and it'll be beautiful. Well, my wife gets a phone call about an hour ago that says our TV stand is still on a truck in California, Jeff. So I got this beautiful 85-inch TV that I can't do anything with right now. I'm a little bit sad about that. I ain't gonna lie. I'm sad about that. But you can see in the picture here. You see this striped blanket. I put a blanket over it so that the screen wouldn't get all messed. I don't want. I told my kids if they touch it, I'm gonna murder them. Right. So it's in the bedroom. No one's touching it. But I can't wait.
If Brian's ever on Dateline, we know why.
We know why. Go check out his podcast. He admits to it. Episode 53. But no, other than that, we've been just kind of unpacking and trying to figure out the new house and kind of trying to still get some things that we need for it. And the end bits here. We bought a ceiling fan and put it up the other day. First ceiling fan I ever put up. So that was interesting. So we got to do all that stuff. We got to get blinds. That when you buy a brand new house, there's a lot of things that you think that come with it, but that actually don't. So we got to slowly get those blinds in and do that stuff. But other than that, I've been keeping up with the NBA playoffs. And I'm also interested to see if Aaron Rodgers is going to show up next week. Next week, I believe it's next week or the week after that. It's mandatory off-season training. And that's when, if Aaron Rodgers does not show up, he will be docked money. So I'm still waiting to see what happens there. The Green Bay Packers will not budge on it. They say they are not going to trade him. And so they're calling Aaron Rodgers bluff, I guess you could say. And we'll see what happens there in Green Bay. So very interesting. Matt LaFleur said today there's no changes with Aaron Rodgers, and he doesn't know if he'll be here next week. So, but I hear good news from Jordan Love out of the that he looks more comfortable. He's making some good throws. So you always hear those type things, and I guess we should always be considered to be ready in Green Bay to start the Jordan Love era. But that's what I have in my locker this week, Jeff. We need to play a game sometime soon, brother. We haven't played it. We have not jumped online together in forever.
So the good thing that you say that on PlayStation Plus, everybody, it's the beginning of a new month, beginning of new Plus games. But a lot of co-op stuff is on Plus. So they released this new spy game, which is a co-op game. Like you started out and you can't see what they're seeing, but you're doing something else and they have to help you out. It's kind of like that. And there's also the Star Wars Squadron game where you're 5v5 dogfight fighting in TIE fighters, which is kind of cool. It's kind of interesting, but for free game, it's pretty cool. Yeah. So, but yeah, there's some stuff out there that we haven't played, but I definitely haven't played before. And I keep eyeing Dying Light, man. I keep eyeing it. Yeah. I'm like, man, I want to play that because I know you can invite somebody in. They don't have to own the game. You can invite somebody in.
That's cool.
Yeah, but definitely we might do something and we might stream it.
That'd be cool. I also got my daughter's birthday. My oldest daughter's turning 8 this weekend. It's actually Monday the 7th, but we will celebrate it on Sunday. And after we go to church, and we've going to a new ward building since we moved. But so we got to celebrate her birthday on Sunday. So that'll be fun. And, other than that, man, that's all we got this week. Next week, look forward to seeing the updated, NBA playoffs, who's going on to the next round, and the Mavericks get back hold of the series. Did LeBron and the Lakers win? I doubt it, and all that good stuff. Want to point out one more thing here, and I have AT&T TV, and I was looking at some things the other day, and I found two interesting documentaries that we need to get back into doing that. Where we watch a documentary, and at the end of the month we kind of review it. I really like that. There's really interesting one. It's about Alex Smith, and it's called his last snap, I believe it's what it's called, or last ride, and it goes through his recovery. And I started watching like 5 minutes of that in the beginning before I had to start making dinner today. But I think that's going to be our next one. I really want to watch that one. And then I saw one too, and I don't. It's an E60, I believe, on Mike Tyson, and his career and stuff. So that won't be interesting as well. But we're gonna definitely get back into doing that. I really enjoy that. So
I definitely agree. I think There's also there's a Jeter thing, 6-part.
Oh, is it a 6-part? Hey, Kobe Bryant's is coming out sometime.
Yeah, that's another one. That's another one.
This summer, I believe.
Yeah. So we're going to be getting some content here pretty soon on all kinds of stuff like that. So definitely, we're going to pick that back up for sure.
So, but all right, guys, I hope where you're at, it's nice, sunny, and beautiful weather outside, because it's been rainy the last 2 weeks, and I hate it. So I hope you see some sunshine with some 70-degree weather. I hope you have a fantastic week. God bless you guys. Thanks, Jeff, for jumping on again.
No problem.
All right, guys, come check us out at Watson's Playbook, Facebook, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple, Pandora, iHeartRadio. We're on Facebook, and Jeff runs the Instagram as well. We're now on Instagram. We forgot to mention that. And Jeff is on Twitch. So we got it all going on here. We will be on YouTube, back on YouTube eventually. But thank you guys for checking us out, and hit that like, pass on the share, whatever platform you're on. And maybe we'll be on TikTok next, Jeff, doing videos. I don't think that will happen, but God bless you guys. Have a great and fantastic week.
Take care, guys. Bye.
Nice.